Okay, well, I'm going to be interviewing Miles Felice about discrimination and stereotypes. So, what do you think are like some types of stereotypes?
Stereotypes can be something as simple as girls have good handwriting to something as harsh as Japanese are evil because they bombed us. And by that I mean America in World War II. And so stereotypes is a wrong action. I believe it's an action more than it is a noun, because a stereotype, it's when there's a prelude of a wrong action or idea that they believe as a person of that stereotype is true, while it's not necessarily. And so you're prejudging a large or small group of people based on something you've heard before, or their race, or their gender, or their sex, and there's so many different things that are within that.
Great answer. Okay. Can you give me some examples of when you've seen like discrimination and stuff like that?
I have actually been in several stereotypical and discriminatory situations before, although I prefer not to talk about those. I come from a Mexican family who has immigrated from Mexico in this century, and most of them are still alive. And my Aunt Deborah, she used to work in a drugstore, and she is Mexican, and she was born in Mexico. And so her and her family, my family I guess, when they came to America, she used to, even after she was married, and this is a few years after most migrant farm workers were done working in the fields. And she was working there, and she had people come in and say, "I prefer to have someone else help me," but in a more polite way. And there was one day that she remembers when one woman came into the drugstore and walked up to the counter, and it was lunch hour, and she was the only one working, and because she also speaks Spanish, she was working the counter because she's bilingual. And so the woman came up to her and said, "You're a Mexican, you are filthy, and I do not want you helping me. Get someone else up here to help me." And so she said, "I can't, there's no one else here that knows how to work the counter. I have to help you." And so the woman said, "No, I want someone else to help me. Go back to the pharmacist and tell him to help me." And so she went back there, and it's just one of the small situations, and there's so many sad things that go on in society that we aren't aware of. And the reason they came to America in the first place is because every once in a while they would go to an English-speaking restaurant in southern Texas. And one time they went there, my great-grandmother, she had gone there, and when they went in with their family, they had brought most of their family that day, she said, "We don't serve Mexicans here. You have to get out of here." And then my great-grandmother took her family and set off for the rest of the United States because she didn't want her children growing up in that prejudiced environment.
Thank you for your time.